Long before kingdoms or cities, there was a man in a small clan. His story, like many, began in earth and fire. He was not a king nor a chief, just one among many. But his life reflected the struggle of his people. For him, every rustle in the dark could mean food for his hungry kin or danger waiting to take them. As a boy, he learned that fire was treasure. He watched the elders guard it carefully, carrying embers wrapped in bark when the clan moved across the land. To lose fire was to risk death. To keep it alive was to preserve the heartbeat of the clan. Stone became his first teacher. He struck flint and watched sparks leap into dried grass, shaping tools with hands that bled but learned. Sharp blades carved meat, scraped hides, split wood. Bone needles stitched furs into clothing, and those stitches kept his family alive when the cold pressed hard against their shelter. The cave was more than a place to hide. It became his world, its walls glowing with firelight, painted with shapes of bison and deer, marks left by hands long before his own. He listened to the stories those images carried, learning that memory could live not just in minds, but in stone. Each night, the fire stretched shadows into stories. The clan gathered, whispering lessons and prayers, their voices rising like smoke into the dark. Predators prowled outside, stronger and faster than any man, but together the clan endured. Kinship was his protection. Alone, he was nothing. Together, they were human. He grew older, and his voice joined the murmurs of the clan. He learned the first fragments of language, the shared signs and sounds that turned warning into memory and memory into hope. With words came plans, and with plans came survival. He watched the hunters paint walls with ochre animals, shapes of the world they pursued. These were not just decorations, but teachings for the young, a memory of hunts and a prayer for those yet to come. Every tool sharpened meant fewer nights of hunger, and every child who lived carried their story forward. The bow came into his life as a revelation. He learned to string sinew across wood and send death flying silently through the air. Distance became safety. The hunt no longer demanded the risk of teeth and claw. It could now be won with patience and skill. Still, hunger was never far away. Some seasons gave plenty, others gave nothing. The clan learned to gather roots, berries, and nuts when prey was scarce. They followed herds across great distances, carrying their fire with them. He wrapped embers in bark, guarding them as they crossed frozen plains. The Ice Age pressed its weight on every shelter, every bone. Mammoths and reindeer became more than prey. They were survival itself, their hides becoming tents, their bones becoming tools, their flesh sustaining the clan. Clothing stitched from hides became his armor against the cold. He saw burials painted with ochre, beads laid beside the dead, tools left with them as gifts. Death was not an end. It was a passage, honored by ritual. Even in hardship, they believed life had meaning beyond the grave. When the ice began to thaw, rivers swelled and forests spread. He learned new ways to live. The fish in streams were caught with sharpened bone hooks, the birds trapped with nets, the game hunted with patience. Microliths, tiny blades set into wood, became tools sharper and more versatile than before. The dog entered his world, not as predator but as companion. Once feared, now trusted, it watched over the camp and joined the hunt. The taming of the wolf was a bond between species, one that gave the clan strength and loyalty. He helped hollow out trees to make canoes, carrying his people across rivers and coasts. Fish, shellfish, and reeds became part of their diet. Slowly, the clan stopped wandering so far. They returned to the same rivers and the same forests year after year. Camps left layers of ash, memories pressed But with villages came fragility. Illness spread where people crowded. Walls rose to protect food, herds, and kin. Chiefs and councils led where hunters once guided. Polished axes cleared forests, reshaping the land. Boundaries grew, disputes followed, and with disputes came war. He saw monuments rise, stones aligned to sun and stars, tombs built for the dead, circles marking time itself. Stonehenge, Karnak, Göbekli Tepe, though he did not know their names, he knew their meaning, memory set in stone. Humanity was not only surviving, but marking its place in the universe. The Neolithic was not the end of survival. It was the beginning of civilization. From wild grass to bread, from caves to villages, humanity transformed. For him, the cost was heavy. Harder labor, longer hours, sharper divisions. Yet progress carried forward, unstoppable as the turning of seasons. The man grew old, his beard gray, his hands scarred from stone and fire. He saw his children grow, his clan change, his world shift from wandering to permanence. The Stone Age closed not with his death, nor with his tribes, but with a doorway open to a future of bronze, iron, and empire. His story was not unique. It was the echo of countless lives lived in firelight, carried in stone, preserved in memory. And through that doorway walked us all, the children of flint and fire, heirs of his struggle, his resilience, his hope.